Ladies and gentlemen, we are nearing the almost end of this conference. I would like to first give the floor to Blanka KLIMEŠOVÁ from the organizing NGO Walk the City. They focus on many different things, including school streets. So what is your motivation? What drives you to focus on these topics? Tell us, please. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for being with us up until now. It's been 2 long days filled with information and inspiration. What I would like to do now is to tell you very briefly how we work with schools, what we do about safety around schools, because Walk the City has been focusing on this topic for a long time. We started in 2002, and since then we have cooperated with more than 60 schools. So I think that we already have quite a lot of experience and a lot of know-how. So let me tell you what I believe is important when we talk about schools and transport. Last year, we tried to do a survey looking into how children get to school in the Czech Republic. We have the most experience here in Prague, but we also wanted to know what it's like in Czechia. We had 1,749 responses, and we found out that most children walk to school. And if we also add children who need to get to school by public transport and then walk, it's a majority of kids. But still, there are children who get to school by cars, and even this relatively small number of cars causes major problems. What we also see throughout our project is that in the morning, driving is more problematic, and it's also more prevalent than in the afternoon when kids leave the school. So in the morning, you will have policemen monitoring the situation, but that's not usually what happens in the afternoon, because very often the focus is the morning, getting children to school. But in the afternoon, children also walk around schools. Sometimes they can be engrossed in play or talk with their classmates, so they are less vigilant. So it can be actually less safe. This is what it looks like when children want to get home from school or to school in the morning. Sometimes there is simply no safe route to go through. There might be zebra crossings, but very often there might not be safe for children at all. Just look at the 2 pictures in the bottom row. This is how children use zebra crossings. They practically need to sprint across the street, not because they are full of energy. They are running, they are sprinting because they want to leave the area as soon as possible, because they feel that this is not their place to be. So this is how children use zebra crossings. We often say that this is a vicious cycle. You have so many cars around schools, and those cars actually increase the danger, or at least the perceived danger. And as a result, even more parents drive children to school because they feel that the traffic situation around school is dangerous. So that's your vicious cycle. So what we need to do is to reverse it. We need to create safe spaces around school that motivates both children and parents to walk to school, or to cycle, or to use kick scooters. How do you do that? We have a long-term project called Safe Routes to School. Together with children, we map out the school areas and try to identify the most dangerous places, the most problematic places. And together with children, we try to come up with ideas on how to fix them. And that's the important part. We need to ask them. We need to ask children. They are the users of the area. We as adults might feel that we know where the route is dangerous and where it is safe, but we do need to ask children. Children in primary schools, 6 years old, up to students. And the children draw in a map where they go from and how they get to school. So this is how we map it out. Both walking routes, cycling routes, and they talk about which places feel safe and which don't. So this helps us to visualize what the children's situation is. What we get in the end is a map of places where children live, and so from where they need to get to school. So this really gives you a very good idea what will be the main routes children take to school, and you can therefore identify the problematic places. Maybe you can see that children avoid what seems to be a shortcut because it is more dangerous. You also need to do a traffic survey. We here use what we might call child labor. We usually take a whole class and walk around, and we just observe what's happening there. So children get worksheets and record the number of cars and how cars behave in the area. So they gather really, really important data. But for children, it is a really interesting activity, and they are really excited, and they say there were 11 cars and nobody stopped in front of the zebra crossing. So it makes it more visible to children what is happening on the roads. Another key element is cooperation, bringing people who make decisions together and presenting this to them. What we encounter often is that they don't talk to each other. They are not used to talking to each other. And this applies not only to different institutions, people from different institutions, but people from different departments of a single municipality. So it's really useful to bring them all together, because then it helps you to implement your projects. As a result of these surveys and of these initiatives, we see real tangible change. So new pedestrianized zones, new zebra crossings, new alternative solutions. But very often it takes a very long time to arrive at these. But we want to see change quickly, because that's what motivates us, otherwise we might go crazy. So that's why we are very happy when it takes just a fraction of the normal time to implement a school street. So if there is a grassroots movement asking for a school street, it's always easier. So this is one successful implementation of a school street. Here's another one that we are currently piloting. But what I wanted to say is that what makes us really happy and what really motivates us is the campaign Walking to School. It's a campaign that we always do in September as part of the European Mobility Week. And during this week, throughout this campaign, we motivate schools to encourage their children to walk to school, and it's a big competition, so your class can win a prize if they walk the most to school. We have been doing it for 6 years, and you can see that the number of schools has been growing. In 2023, it was more than 400 schools participating in this campaign. And maybe you say that's not so many, but it's about 10% of Czech schools. And let me just remind you that this is something extra that the school, that the administration, that the teachers do. And it requires their time and energy. So if we take this into account, it really is very optimistic for us to see that more schools want to take part. And we really need their input. We really need them because we can't reach them all. And thanks to them participating, they can help change mindsets. Because throughout the week, they raise this topic. They need to talk about this with children, with their parents. And very often, as part of it, they also organize their own events. So very often they are so enthusiastic and so proactive, turning it into an event of its own. This is, for example, from Třebíč, where they also have piloted a school street. This is another event, a cycling trip together with the local mayor, and kids cycle around the municipality, and then they can talk to the mayor about how they experience the city. So during this week, as part of this campaign, many different things can be tested out, piloted. There can be ad hoc drop-off places where parents can drop off younger children and they are taken to school by older children. What they also organize is what they call walking buses. So basically you have stops where you get picked up by a group walking to school. And what we see is that walking to school is beneficial, of course, but promoting it through similar projects is actually easy, it is cheap, it can be implemented quickly, and it has real impacts.